Hello everybody, it's Tarun. Welcome to a 29th tutorial in the CSS for presentation course. In this tutorial, I'll start with the last thing of this course, you can say, which is the basic responsive web design. Responsive web design is a technique that uses CSS to adapt a page's layout based on a screen size. It is just one strategy we are employing to cope up with a mind-blowing variety of screen sizes. Of course, responsive design is a big fat topic that could fill this whole course only. But what I'm going to do here is to introduce you to the basic ingredients of the responsive site so you get a feel for building one. The approach presented here is based closely on the method of responsive design, which is described by Ethan Marcotte in his landmark book, which is Responsive Web Design. By the time you read this, I'm sure there will be many more marvelous books on the topic. Okay, but let's start with a simple example. In this section, we'll work together on making a web page responsive. So I'll just show you a figure which shows the same, you can say, the image where we use the image replacement technique, HTML page, and that will look out on a narrow screen and a tablet screen in portrait and landscape orientation and a large desktop monitor by the time we are finished. So I'll just show you the figure now. So you can see here the four figures. First one is for iPhone, which is 320 pixel size screen. Then it is iPad, which is portrait, and it is 768 pixel screen. Then we have iPad landscape, which is 1024 pixel screen, and then we have desktop, which is greater than 1024 pixel screen. On the smartphone sized screen, the page has a one column layout and very narrow side margins. On tablets in portrait mode, there is room for slightly more generous margins and wrapped text. At 1024 pixel wide, there is room for a second column. Okay, and in very wide browser windows, the width of the content is limited, and the maximum width property to make sure the lines don't get out of control. So these are the very modest adjustments compared to professionally designed responsive sites, but they should be enough to show you how it works. So let's see how it works. Responsive design is first proposed by Mr. Marcotte, has three core components. The first is a fluid layout. You learned all about the fluid layouts in the unit CSS layouts, and fortunately the site which I have shown you has already been designed to be fluid. Okay, and then second one is flexible images. When the layout scales down, the images and other embedded media need to scale with it, otherwise they would hang out of view. So we'll make sure that the images in the web page scale down to fit. Then the third one is CSS media queries. Media queries are a method for applying styles based on the medium via which the document is displayed. Queries start with questions such as, is the document being printed? Then use the print appropriate styles, or is the document on a screen? Then and is that screen at least 1024 pixels wide and in landscape mode? Then use the style sheet. Okay, so to this list of ingredients, I would add the viewport meta element that makes the width of the web page match the width of the screen. That's where we'll begin our responsive web project. Okay, so first of all, we'll start with setting the viewport. To fit standard websites onto small screen, mobile browsers render the page on a canvas called the viewport and then shrink that viewport down to the width of the screen. For example, on iPhones, mobile Safari sets the viewport width to 980 pixels, so a web page is rendered as though it were on a desktop browser window set to 980 pixels wide, but then the rendering gets shrunk to 320 pixels wide when the iPhone is in portrait orientation, cramming a lot of information into a tiny space. Mobile Safari introduced the viewport meta tag that allows developers to control the size of that initial viewport. Soon other mobile browsers followed suit, and this is an essential first step to a responsive design. Simply add the following meta element, which I am going to show you, to the head of the HTML document. Okay, you just add it to the head of the HTML document. This line tells the browser to set the width of the viewport equal to the width of the device screen, which is width device, sorry, not width device width. Okay, so here uh, width equal to device width, whatever that happens to be. The initial scale sets the zoom level to 1, which is 100%. Now seems like a good time to start uh, your web page, the responsive treatment. Okay, so now we'll talk about fluid layouts. Because fluid layouts are fundamental to responsive design, I think it bears a quick recap. Fluid layouts are created using percentage width measurements so that element resize proportionally to fill the available width of the screen or the window. It is not feasible to create a design for all possible device widths on which your page may be viewed. Web designers generally create 2 or 3 designs, sometimes a few more, targeted at major device classes such as smartphones, tablets, and desktop browsers. They rely on fluid layouts to take care of all the possible sizes in between. Fluid layouts avoid awkward amounts of leftover space and prevent the right side of the page from getting cut off. Because I have picked up the fluid layout styles from the previous examples for this thing. Okay, so there is nothing that we need to do the web page. So now we'll make our images flexible. Every now and then a solution is simple. Take for example the style rule required to make images scale down to fit the size of their container. Okay, so this will be the style sheet or style rule for that. Okay, that's it. When the layout gets smaller, the images in it will scale down to fit the width of the container they are in. If the container is larger than the image, for example in the tablet or desktop layouts, the image does not scale larger. It stops at 100% of its original size. When you apply the maximum width property, be sure that there are no width and height attributes in the image elements in the HTML document, or the image won't scale proportionally. But wait, things are never that simple, right? Okay, I'm afraid that although the style rule is simple, the larger issue of images on the mobile display is more complicated. Even in our modest example, we are serving an image to the smartphone that is larger than it needs, which means unnecessary data is transferred. Okay, so now we'll wrap up our style sheets. Okay, so let's wrap up the style sheets. We have come to an end of our style sheet exploration. By now you should be comfortable formatting text and even doing a basic page layout using CSS. The trick to mastering style sheets, of course, is lots of practice and testing. If you get stuck, you will find that there are many resources online to help the to help you find the answers you need. So this was all from my side in this tutorial and in this course. So I'll just be giving you a basic tutorial more in this course containing the basics of JavaScript or an introduction to JavaScript. So thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the tutorial of the introduction of JavaScript.